हम्म। Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to PW IELTS and TOEFL Prep. I'm Divya, your TOEFL expert, and today we are going to talk about the TOEFL listing. Right? We have recently started the TOEFL listing, and in the previous class, I made you understand all the do's and don'ts. I told you what you need to do, what are the things you need to keep in mind, what are the things you need to avoid, what kind of challenges you will see and you will face when you're doing the TOEFL listening, how you're going to listen to the conversation and the lectures, and then after you will see the question back to back, one after the other. So all these basic details we have already discussed, and today we are going to talk about the conversation. We are going to discuss that how the conversation you are going to listen, how long they are, what is the format of these conversations, and how, after the conversation, how you will get the question. And the most importantly, we will also be discussing that while listening to the conversation, how you can take notes, right? So I think without wasting our time further, let's get into it, because today lecture is gonna be a bit interesting. Why? Because a bit, I mean, I would say that today lecture is more interesting because abhi tak to we were just understanding, right? In the previous class also I just played some lectures or the discussion, but that was not too long. But today I'm gonna play the actual conversation that you are going to hear in the TOEFL listening, specifically when it is a conversation. So I really want you to attempt, understand, try what they are saying. जो जो समझ में आ रहा है, जैसे समझ में आ रहा है, make sure you take notes, and फिर आप देखिएगा कि आपके notes आपको कितनी हद तक help करते हैं, and then you will find कि taking notes is one of the most important thing when it comes to TOEFL. ठीक है, तो चलिए start करते हैं. Talking about the topic that we are going to cover today. So yes, there are a few things. Let me just mention or highlight here. We are going to talk about the tips and strategies. We are going to talk about the practice. We will do some activities. And of course, we will be talking about some other points also. So before that, let us understand कि जो हमारी conversation है, जो आज का topic है, the conversation that we are going, उसका format क्या होता है? What is the format of the conversations, right? So here, when I talk about the conversation format, तो आप देखेंगे जो conversations होती हैं, they are generally 3 to 4 minutes long, right? So conversation जो है आपकी 3 to 4 minutes long होती हैं. You will be listening either professor and a student talking to each other, and maybe you'll see that any teaching staff or maybe non-teaching staff is talking to the student, or maybe two students are talking to each other, right? So you will see that there is a dialogue between the two speakers. Now the conversation usually is about everyday interaction. तो आप देखेंगे जो ये conversation होती है ना, ये everyday interaction होती है, academic related situations यहाँ पर होती हैं, right? ये discussion का है, तो ये हम डिस्कशन की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, अभी तो हम कॉन्वर्सेशन पे ही फोकस करते हैं. दे कैन इंक्लूड द वैरायटी ऑफ टॉपिक्स सच एज scheduling a meeting, discussing a project, or seeking an advice. Let's suppose the student is approaching her professor for advice that okay, he is going to submit the assignment and he is looking for some more references or some more books so that he can work better or he can work harder. देखो स्ट्रक्चर की अगर मैं बात करूं तो कॉन्वर्सेशन स्टार्ट विद अ इंट्रोडक्शन, ठीक है, और सेटिंग ऑफ द सीन. कि जैसे अब कॉन्वर्सेशन है तो पहले आपको पता चल जाएगा, हाय प्रोफेसर, वेल आई वांटेड टू टॉक अबाउट द अपकमिंग प्रोजेक्ट दैट यू हैव गिवन टू अस रिसेंटली इन द प्रीवियस क्लास. सो आपको पता चल गया कि भाई स्टूडेंट जो है वो अप्रोच कर रही है स्टूडेंट को सो दैट शी कैन डिस्कस द रीसेंट प्रोजेक्ट दैट द प्रोफेसर हैज गिवन इन द क्लास. ठीक है, सो द मेन पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्वर्सेशन, सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द मेन पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्वर्सेशन वेयर द स्पीकर exchange the information, ask question and provide responses. तो यहाँ पर क्या होगा, आप देखेंगे, आप पहले पूरा कॉन्वर्सेशन सुनते हैं, you will be listening to conversation, you will be understanding what kind of information they are exchanging, you will be taking notes, and then after, based on the same conversation, आपके पास question आते हैं, right? The conversation often include with a resolution and the discussion. तो यहाँ पर स्ट्रक्चर की बात करते हैं, अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्वर्सेशन स्ट्रक्चर. सबसे पहले अगर हम अंडरस्टैंड करें स्ट्रक्चर को, राइट, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो नो द स्ट्रक्चर इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. अब यहाँ पर क्या है, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि जो कॉन्वर्सेशन है वहाँ पे वेरियस टॉपिक होते हैं, कोई स्केड्यूलिंग की बात हो रही है, एडवाइस की बात हो रही है, प्रॉब्लम है और टीचर सोल्यूशन दे रहा है, राइट. सो यहाँ पर आपको रोल को समझना है, पे अटेंशन टू द रोल and the relationship between the speakers. For example, स्टूडेंट को स्पीकर एडवाइस दे रहा है या फ्रेंड है या फिर फ्रेंड ऑफ फ्रेंड है, राइट? सो दिस इज व्हाट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि स्पीकर जो है स्टूडेंट एंड एडवाइजर है, फ्रेंड एंड फ्रेंड है, व्हाट टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर. सो एक एडवाइजर बात कर रहा है और एक स्टूडेंट बात कर रहा है या दो फ्रेंड्स बात कर रहे हैं. दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू नीड टू कीप इन माइंड, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. और ये सारी चीज़ें आप इनिशियली 1 मिनट में और इवन 30-40 सेकेंड में ही कर सकते हैं. तो मेक श्योर फ्रॉम द वेरी फर्स्ट सेंटेंस यू आर विद योर ऑल ईयर्स, यू आर लिसनिंग वेरी केयरफुली, यू आर नॉट लीविंग एनी असेंशियल इन्फॉर्मेशन जिससे आपका पूरा कॉन्वर्सेशन आउट ऑफ द ट्रैक हो जाए और आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स हो जाए. सो मेक श्योर, समझिए क्या टॉपिक की बात हो रही है. प्रोफेसर टीचर की बात, प्रोफेसर और स्टूडेंट बात कर रहे हैं या स्टूडेंट स्टूडेंट बात कर रहे हैं, प्रॉब्लम सोल्यूशन की बात कर रहे हैं या एडवाइस की बात कर रहे हैं या व्हाट. सो दिस थिंग you can understand only in the very first few minutes, right? So make sure that you are paying attention. Being a active listener, very important. Active listener होना TOEFL में बहुत बहुत important है. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पर आपको समझना है कि क्या पॉइंट है, क्या पर्पस है, व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ द कॉन्वर्सेशन, व्हाट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ दैट कॉन्वर्सेशन. लेट्स सपोज अगर आप मेरे सामने हैं, हम कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहे हैं, तो हमारा क्या कॉन्वर्सेशन हो रहा है, हम कैसे एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे हैं या किस टॉपिक पे बात कर रहे हैं. लिसन फॉर चेंजेस, चेंजेस के बारे में सुनेंगे, यानी कि कहाँ पर इंफॉर्मेशन चेंज हो रही है. मैंने बोला वेल देयर आर सम प्रॉब्लम, बट प्रॉब्लम की बात करते करते मैंने सोल्यूशन भी स्टार्ट कर दी, तो कैसे इंफॉर्मेशन चेंज हो रही है. सो लुक फॉर द शिफ्ट, राइट, कि कहाँ कहाँ कैसे कैसे शिफ्ट हो रहा है. ओके, नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट द एब्रीवेशन, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर नोट मेकिंग, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. लेट मी टेल यू हियर, यूज एब्रीवेशंस, राइट. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, आप फोकस करेंगे प्लस पे लगा, ये साइन भी आप यूज कर सकते हैं, जैसे SPCL है या गुड मॉर्निंग है, या फिर उन्होंने बोला नॉट गुड, सो यहाँ पर लिखा not good, right? You will be using these kind of abbreviation, anything that makes you comfortable. ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं आपको यही कॉपी करना है. As I've told you earlier also, हम लोग इतने टेक्स्ट प्रो हैं आजकल कि कितनी जल्दी जल्दी टेक्स्ट करते हैं, कितना शॉर्ट में लिखते हैं, बस आपको वही यूज़ करना है, राइट. जस्ट फोकस ऑन द की इन्फॉर्मेशन, राइट, लाइक डेट है, कोई डिसीजन है, कोई स्पेसिफिक इन्फॉर्मेशन है. और सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट बात, सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट, ऑर्गेनाइज योर नोट्स, ये मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट है. क्यों है ये मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट? मान लीजिए अगर यहाँ पे प्रोफेसर है, यहाँ पर स्टूडेंट है, स्टूडेंट क्या कर रहा है, प्रॉब्लम डिस्कस कर रहा है, प्रोफेसर क्या है, सोल्यूशन दे रहा है. तो उसने क्या प्रॉब्लम बताई, उसने क्या सोल्यूशन बताया. तो जितना ऑर्गेनाइजिंगली आप अपने नोट्स बनाएंगे, उतना ही क्लियरली आप ईजिली क्वेश्चन को आंसर कर पाएंगे, राइट. सो हियर, prove your inference skills, improve your inference skills. What do you understand? What do you understand? यहाँ पर जैसे read between the lines, right? Use context clues, infer, and the speaker attitude, speaker का क्या intonation है, speaker क्या कहना चाहता है, understand, what they are trying to imply, what they are trying to make you understand. So not only you have to focus on the content, but the way they are speaking, आप वो भी आप सुनेंगे, वो भी उस तरीके से आप बात करेंगे, right? Stay calm and focus, very important. Manage your time, right? You have कितना मिनट, 36 मिनट for 28 क्वेश्चन. सो आपको टाइम मैनेज करना है, राइट. यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, लिसन केयरफुली, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, ठीक है. तो अब हम क्या करेंगे, अब हम प्रैक्टिस करेंगे. कल से हम बहुत सारी बातें कर रहे हैं लास्ट क्लास से. नाउ व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज लिसन टू द conversation carefully and take notes. Very important. थोड़ा सजा देते हैं ताकि आपको लगे अरे ये तो बहुत ही हाईलाइटेड चीज़ है जो हमें करनी है. Okay, take notes. तो I hope you all are ready. चलिए सुनते हैं.
Listen to a conversation between a student and a librarian. Hi, I'm new here. I couldn't come to the student orientation, and I'm wondering if you can give me a few quick pointers about the library. I'd really appreciate it.
Sure, I'd be glad to. What's your major area of study?
Latin American literature.
Okay. Well, over here's the section where we have language, literature, and the arts. And if you go downstairs, you'll find the history section. Generally, the students who concentrate in Latin American literature find themselves researching in the history section a lot.
You're right. I'm a transfer student. I've already done a year at another university, so I know how the research can go. I spent a lot of time in the history section. So, how long can I borrow books for?
Our loan period is a month. Oh, I should also mention that we have an interlibrary loan service. If you need to get hold of a book that's not in our library, there's a truck that runs between our library and a few other public and university libraries in this area. It comes around 3 times a week.
Hey, that's great. At my last school, it could take a really long time to get the materials I needed. So when I had a project, I had to make a plan way in advance. This sounds much faster. Another thing I was wondering is there a place where I can bring my computer and hook it up?
Sure. There's a whole area here on the main floor where you can bring a laptop and plug it in for power. But on top of that, we also have a connection for the internet at every seat.
Nice. So I can do all the research I need to do right here in the library. I'll have all the resources, all the books, and information I need right here in one place.
Yep, that's the idea. I'm sure you'll need photocopiers too. They're down the hallway to your left. We have a system where you have to use a copy card, so you'll need to buy a card from the front desk. You insert it into the machine and you're ready to make copies.
How much do you guys charge?
7 cents a copy.
Oh, that's not too bad. Thanks. Where's the collection of rare books?
Rare books are up on the 2nd floor. They're in a separate room where the temperature's controlled, to preserve the old paper in them. You need to get special permission to access them, and then you have to wear gloves to handle them, because the oils in our hands, can destroy the paper, and gloves prevent that, so we have a basket of gloves in the room.
Okay, thanks. I suppose that's all I need to know. You've been very helpful. Thanks.
Anytime. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I hope the audio was quite clear. You all could have understood what they were talking about. Now, based on that, we have some questions. So, the question number 1, why does the man go to see his professor? Right? To borrow some charts and graphs from her? No. To ask her to explain some statistical procedures? Well, I don't think so. This is also no, because she was, the boy was talking about some research and to talk about a report that he is writing or to discuss the grade he got. No, grade to definitely nahi hai. So right answer is C here, right? So this is how you'll be able to answer it. अब ये question है, what information will the man include in his report? So include, not include. तो यहाँ पे लिखा है climate charts. क्या climate charts include करेंगे? Yes, include करेंगे, बिल्कुल करेंगे. Interviews नहीं करेंगे. General notes बिल्कुल करेंगे. Right, and statistical, what do you think? Yes, ये भी include होगा. Very clearly they have mentioned that. फिर देखते हैं, why does the professor tell men about an appointment to the doctor? डॉक्टर के अपॉइंटमेंट के लिए क्यों बात करी थी? To demonstrate the way how to remember things, to explain why she needs to leave soon, to illustrate point that appears in his report or to emphasize the importance of good health. No, it is absolutely A. She has given that example so that she can help you that कि आप कैसे चीज़ों को याद कर सकते हैं. Why does the professor offer, what does the professor offer to do? प्रोफेसर ने क्या बोला था कि भाई मैं आपके लिए रिव्यू कर दूंगी, वेरी क्लियरली है ना, दैट आई विल रिव्यू योर रिपोर्ट्स. नाउ लिसन, अब देखो यहाँ पर क्या है, ये है listen again to the part of the conversation. आपको यहाँ दिख रहा है हेडफोन, right? So this is a headphone icon is given. So this headphone icon का मतलब क्या है, ये होता है replay question, यानी कि you can replay a part of a conversation again. ठीक है, तो आप दोबारा प्ले कर सकते हैं. तो यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, listen again the part of the conversation and then answer the question. Why does the professor say this? तो ये हम दोबारा सुनेंगे and based on that फिर आप आंसर करेंगे. So listen carefully.
Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Excuse me, Professor Tom.
Okay, I think we did a mistake. ये conversation आपको दोबारा सुनना पड़ेगा. Come on, listen to this conversation again because I played a different conversation, it seems.
I know your office hours are tomorrow, but I was wondering if you had a few minutes free now to discuss something.
Sure, John. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I have some quick questions about how to write up the research project I did this semester about climate variations.
Oh, yes. You were looking at variations in climate in the Grant City area, right? How far along have you gotten?
I've got all my data, so I'm starting to summarize it now, preparing graphs and stuff. But I'm looking at it and I'm afraid that it's not enough. But I'm not sure what else to put in the report.
I hear the same thing from every student. You know, you have to remember now that you're the expert on what you've done. So think about what you'd need to include if you were going to explain your research project to someone with general or casual knowledge about the subject, like your parents. That's usually my rule of thumb. Would my parents understand this?
Okay, I get it.
I hope you can recognize by my saying that how much you do know about the subject.
Right, I understand. I was wondering if I should also include the notes from the research journal you suggested I keep.
Yes, definitely. You should use them to indicate what your evolution and thought was through time. So just set up, what was the purpose of what you were doing to try to understand the climate variability of this area and what you did and what your approach was.
Okay, so for example, I studied meteorological records. I looked at climate charts. I used different methods for analyzing the data, like certain statistical tests, and then I discussed the results. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's right. You should include all of that. The statistical tests are especially important. And also, be sure you include a good reference section where all your published and unpublished data came from, because you have a lot of unpublished climate data.
Something just came into my mind and went out the other side.
That happens to me a lot, so I've come up with a pretty good memory management tool. I carry a little pad with me all the time and jot down questions or ideas that I don't want to forget. For example, I went to the doctor with my daughter and her baby son last week, and we knew we wouldn't remember everything we wanted to ask the doctor, so we actually made a list of 5 things we wanted answers to.
A notepad is a good idea. Since I'm so busy now at the end of the semester, I'm getting pretty forgetful these days. Okay, I just remembered what I was trying to say before.
Good. I was hoping you'd come up with it.
Yes, it ends up that I have data on more than just the immediate Grant City area, so I also included some regional data in the report. With everything else, it should be a pretty good indicator of the climate in this part of the state.
Sounds good. I'd be happy to look over a draft version before you hand in the final copy if you wish.
Great. I'll plan to get you a draft of the paper by next Friday. Thanks.
Okay, so earlier the audio which we have played was not the actual audio. This one's the actual audio. But before that, let me say hi Rahul very good afternoon. Hi Sujit Deshmukh, very good afternoon. Hello Abhishek, very good afternoon. Good to see you here in my opening in the exam. In my opinion, in the exam there is not too long audio for the question. No, my dear Sujit, आपका जो audios होते हैं, believe me, the audios are 3 to 5 minutes long. ये conversation था. That's why the audio was around 2 minutes 49 second long. And when it is this is the conversation, right? But when you are going to listen to the discussion, believe me, you are going to listen to the discussion for almost 5 minutes. ठीक है. सो एक्चुअल एग्जाम में जो कॉन्वर्सेशन का लेंथ होता है, जो डिस्कशन का लेंथ होता है, वो 3 to 5 मिनट्स के बीच का होता है. सो यू नीड टू मेक श्योर दैट यू आर prepared enough, you have done with the enough practice so that you can listen to something continuously for 5 minutes. And not only that, as I'm telling you from many days, कि taking notes is really really important. तो 5 मिनट आप सुन रहे हैं, साथ के साथ आप नोट्स बना रहे हैं, तो दिस विल नॉट बी सो मच चैलेंजिंग, बिकॉज जो भी आप सुनोगे, somehow to keep that in mind, somehow to recollect all this point, you will have your notes. लास्ट वाला क्वेश्चन. नो, दिस इज नॉट द लास्ट क्वेश्चन सुजीत. आई थिंक आपने इन्फॉर्मेशन मिस किया. जो हमने पहले ऑडियो चलाया था ना, वो एक्चुअली गलत ऑडियो था. ठीक है. तो अभी मैंने पूरे लेक्चर के लिए दोबारा ऑडियो चलाया. लास्ट वाले क्वेश्चन का तो ऑडियो भी मैंने चलाया ही नहीं है. सो आई हैव रीप्लेड द एंटायर कॉन्वर्सेशन. ठीक है. बेस्ड ऑन दैट कॉन्वर्सेशन फिर ये आंसर है कि भाई वाई मैन हैज गो टू हिज प्रोफेसर टू टॉक अबाउट द रिपोर्ट ही इज राइटिंग. ठीक है. व्हाट इन्फॉर्मेशन ही इज गोइंग टू इंक्लूड, दीज आर द आंसर, everything like that. So we somehow played the wrong audio, right? So I replay the audio so that you can understand the actual conversation. पहले हमने जो चलाया था conversation, that was about the librarian, that was about the student and librarian, but actually we are supposed to listen to the conversation about a student and professor. So somehow the track जो था वो गलत play हो गया था. I have played the track so that you can listen to the actual conversation before answering these questions. ठीक है. अब लास्ट वाला जो क्वेश्चन है, अब आप मुझे इसका आंसर करेंगे. ठीक है. सो व्हाई डज द स्पीकर से दिस. तो ये ध्यान से सुनिए और आपको ही आंसर करना है. अभिषेक, Sujit and Rahul, you all are going to answer this thing to me. Come on. So listen this.
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
You know, you have to remember now that you're the expert on what you've done. So think about what you'd need to include if you were going to explain your research project to someone with general or casual knowledge about the subject, like your parents. That's usually my rule of thumb. Would my parents understand this?
Okay, I get it.
I hope you can recognize by my saying that how much you do know about the subject.
Why does the professor say this?
I hope you can recognize by my saying that how much you do know about the subject.
So I hope you can understand that how much do you know about the project. So why?
Part of the conversation.
So why the professor has said this? Professor has said this to question the length of the paper, to offer encouragement, to dispute the data sources, or to explain a theory. What do you think, my dear students? Come on. क्या लगता है आपको, क्या आंसर है इसका? Why professor explained कि you need to make a project the way so that everybody can understand, casual information वाला भी, detailed information वाला भी, someone like your parents can easily understand, right? So you know what to do. So what he's doing, what she's doing, she is definitely encouraging the student. So the right answer is B here. I hope you have understood. Everyone? Yes, wonderful. चलिए एक प्रैक्टिस और करते हैं. ठीक है. अब ये वाली प्रैक्टिस में सारे आंसर आप ही करेंगे. आई विल जस्ट प्ले द ट्रैक एंड देन आई विल आस्क यू द क्वेश्चन, बट बी श्योर दैट यू नीड टू बी एक्टिव. वेरी गुड सुजीत. अब वाले ऑडियो में आप बिल्कुल एक्टिवली सुनेंगे एंड ऑल द आंसर्स आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग यू टू गिव मी, राइट? दो आई एम हियर टू हेल्प यू, आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू एवरीथिंग, बट आई रियली वांट यू टू परफॉर्म सो दैट आई कैन सी दैट yes, absolutely correct. चलिए. So now we are going to listen about the library tour. The conversation between a student and librarian. Listen to this.
Listen to a conversation between a student and a librarian. Hi, I'm new here. I couldn't come to the student orientation, and I'm wondering if you can give me a few quick pointers about the library. I'd really appreciate it.
Sure, I'd be glad to. What's your major area of study?
Latin American literature.
Okay. Well, over here's the section where we have language, literature, and the arts. And if you go downstairs, you'll find the history section. Generally, the students who concentrate in Latin American literature find themselves researching in the history section a lot.
You're right. I'm a transfer student. I've already done a year at another university, so I know how the research can go. I spent a lot of time in the history section. So, how long can I borrow books for?
Our loan period is a month. Oh, I should also mention that we have an interlibrary loan service. If you need to get hold of a book that's not in our library, there's a truck that runs between our library and a few other public and university libraries in this area. It comes around 3 times a week.
Hey, that's great. At my last school, it could take a really long time to get the materials I needed. So when I had a project, I had to make a plan way in advance. This sounds much faster. Another thing I was wondering is there a place where I can bring my computer and hook it up?
Sure. There's a whole area here on the main floor where you can bring a laptop and plug it in for power. But on top of that, we also have a connection for the internet at every seat.
Nice. So I can do all the research I need to do right here in the library. I'll have all the resources, all the books, and information I need right here in one place.
Yep, that's the idea. I'm sure you'll need photocopiers too. They're down the hallway to your left. We have a system where you have to use a copy card, so you'll need to buy a card from the front desk. You insert it into the machine and you're ready to make copies.
How much do you guys charge?
7 cents a copy.
Oh, that's not too bad. Thanks. Where's the collection of rare books?
Rare books are up on the 2nd floor. They're in a separate room where the temperature's controlled, to preserve the old paper in them. You need to get special permission to access them, and then you have to wear gloves to handle them, because the oils in our hands, you know, can destroy the paper, and gloves prevent that, so we have a basket of gloves in the room.
Okay, thanks. I suppose that's all I need to know. You've been very helpful. Thanks.
Anytime. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now based on this, be active. Let me know, why does the student come to the library? Come on, answer this to me. Why does the student come to the library? As per the conversation, yes, to learn about the library resources, to ask about interlibrary loans, attend the new student orientation and start work on a research. So आप क्या कर सकते हैं? Just eliminate the wrong answer. Very good, Sujit. A is the right answer here. Very nice. Right? We can easily eliminate B, C, D. Now, why does the librarian points out the history section to the student? Librarian ने क्यों point out किया to the student? History section. Somebody by the name of Biopharma something. Need to know your name, please. Let me know your actual name. Okay, so why does the librarian points out the history section to the student? क्यों point out किया बताइए? She wants to point out the closest area. या she assumed that he will need to research there. या फिर the student is looking for books used at his last school, or maybe students sometimes, you know, mistakenly assume that the section contain literature books. Come on, let me know. Okay, fine. Let me just go off the stage. I hope, Sujit, now you can read it. Come on. What do you think? Why does the librarian points out the history section to the student? जो आपने नोट्स बनाए हैं उनको यूज कीजिए लेट मी नो व्हाट डू यू थिंक कैन बी द आंसर। जब आपको आंसर नहीं मिलता है तो आप प्रोसेस ऑफ एलिमिनेशन कर सकते हैं, यानी कि आप एलिमिनेट कीजिए पहले वो आंसर जो बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकते हैं, ऐसे आंसर जो नहीं हो सकते, देन यू विल लेफ्ट विथ लेस ऑप्शंस। तो इन चार में से ऐसा कौन सा एक या दो है जो आपको लगता है बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकता है, उसे एलिमिनेट कीजिए पहले एंड देन लेट मी नो द राइट आंसर। कम ऑन एवरीवन। Well, this answer is, I don't know why you are taking time, but she wants to point out the closest. ये तो बिल्कुल नहीं है, इस बारे में तो नहीं बात हो रही थी, ऐसा नहीं है कि closest उसको बताना हो. She assumed that he will need to do research there क्योंकि historical history से related है, तो she thinks कि जो student है वो इस पे research करेगा. So the right answer is B here. Okay, चलिए next कीजिए. What does the student imply about the interlibrary loan service at his last school? What does student imply about the interlibrary loans in his last school? He never used it. He came to appreciate it. He was like it was inconvenient or it was expensive. What do you think? Yes, Sujit, you think B is the right answer? बिल्कुल ठीक है, Mr. Bio Pharma. B is the right. Sujit, B is right, but let me know the answer number 3 now. He never used it. He came to appreciate it. It was inconvenient or it was expensive. What do you think? What student wants to say about interlibrary loan service at his last school? Yes, yes, yes. Come on. I am really happy the way you are participating. It seems that you are improving your understanding. You are getting everything. You are trying your best. But come on, answer the question so that I can explain you and you can understand where you are going wrong. So here जल्दी से एलिमिनेट करेंगे. देखो जब भी आपको लगता है कि मैम आंसर नहीं मिल रहा है, कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है, तो पहले आप एलिमिनेट कीजिए. एलिमिनेट द रॉन्ग आंसर कि क्या नहीं हो सकता है. कम ऑन. ही नेवर यूज्ड इट, ऐसा तो नहीं है. ए को तो एलिमिनेट कर दिया. ही केम टू अप्रिशिएट इट, एप्रिसिएशन भी नहीं है. So it was expensive or it was inconvenience. So student mentioned it was inconvenience. So the right answer is C. No, Sujit. The right answer is C. If you want, I can replay the audio to explain you. But right answer is C. आप क्या करेंगे? After the class, I really want. After the session, go to the lecture again and listen audios. दोबारा सुनेंगे, ठीक है? C is the correct answer. Very good. चलिए नेक्स्ट बताएंगे. What does the student need to do before he can use any rare book? अब यहाँ पे देखिए एक आपको स्पेशल इंस्ट्रक्शन दी है. चूज टू करेक्ट आंसर. तो आपको यहां पर एक पॉइंट के लिए 2 करेक्ट आंसर निकालने हैं. यहां पे लिखा है व्हाट डज द स्टूडेंट नीड टू डू बिफोर ही कैन यूज एनी रेयर बुक. कोई भी रेयर बुक यूज करने से पहले स्टूडेंट को क्या करना है? परचेज अ कार्ड, ऑब्टेन परमिशन, पुट ऑन ग्लव्स या ट्राई इंटर लाइब्रेरी लोन फर्स्ट. 2 चीजें बताएंगे. देखो आई एम श्योर ग्लव्स की बात हो रही थी कि भाई रेयर बुक्स हैं, खराब ना हो जाए, आपके हाथ का ऑयल ना लग जाए, तो सी तो डेफिनेटली है. एंड बी बिल्कुल ठीक. सो आंसर इज बी एंड सी. ओके, अगेन लिसन अगेन. फिर से रिप्ले क्वेश्चन आ गया, ठीक है? सो हम क्या करेंगे? देखो यहाँ पर हेडफोन बना हुआ है. ओके, replay the part of lecture, right? So let me just play this.
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question. I'll have all the resources, all the books and information I need right here in one place.
Yep, that's the idea.
Which sentence best expresses what the librarian means when she says this?
Yep, that's the idea.
Yep, that's the idea. तो क्या कहना चाहती है लाइब्रेरियन जब उसने बोला yes, that's the idea. So I wish this were true. That is not a very good idea. Thanks for your suggestion. Or that is what she intended. Yes, that's the idea. बहुत easily आप समझ सकते हैं. डी सुजीत डी कैसे हो सकता है? आई विश, बेटा यहाँ पे देखो विश भी लिखा है. आई विश कि ये सच होता. नहीं, उसने बोला यस दैट्स द आइडिया. मतलब आप बिल्कुल सही समझे. सो हियर द राइट आंसर इज डी, नॉट ए. विश नहीं है. उसने बोला उसका इंटेंड ही यही है कि हाँ मैं यही कहना चाह रही हूँ. यस दैट्स अ रियल आइडिया. सो इट्स डी. आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड. यस और नो? यस, नॉट ए बच्चे, डी है. ठीक है, देखो राइट आंसर इज डी. ओके, सो मेक श्योर. देखिए मैं आपको कुछ चीजें बता देती हूँ. इट्स रियली इंपॉर्टेंट to listen carefully. ये सबसे पहली चीज है. Then take notes and then read the question and given option carefully, right? Because you have no chance. आपके पास चांस नहीं होता है. once you have selected the answer then you can go back and correct it. देखिए जब भी आप TOEFL का listening करते हैं ना, once you have you have clicked on the answer, you have chosen the answer number A is right and you have clicked OK and then you are moving to the next question and उसके बाद आपको आगे जाके लग रहा है अरे नहीं उसका तो B था इसका A था, तो बच्चे you have no chance that you can go back and correct your answer. तो make sure जब भी आप आंसर चूज करते हैं, the very first thing, listen conversation very carefully, try taking notes of all the key points or as much as you can write, because जितना ज़्यादा आप लिखते हो you will be able to recollect everything or most of the things given by the professor and the student, and then after you will use the same information to answer the question. and जब आप आंसर कर रहे हो double check कर लो. don't worry, you have enough time, but once you click next you have no option to go back. okay, I hope you have understood. मैम TOEFL रीडिंग का लाइव सेशन लो ना, आप बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हो. थैंक यू सो मच सुजीत. बट सुजीत देखिए आप TOEFL रीडिंग है ना आपका मैं ऑलरेडी करा चुकी हूँ. आई डोंट नो, आई थिंक आपने शायद थोड़ा ज्वाइन लेट किया है. हम अब अपने ये लास्ट मॉड्यूल पे हैं. हमने स्पीकिंग कवर कर लिया, हमने फिर राइटिंग किया, फिर रीडिंग किया, अब हम लिसनिंग कर रहे हैं. यू डोंट वरी, आपके पास दो ऑप्शन है. आइदर यू कैन गो टू द प्रीवियस लेक्चर्स, वहां पे जाके आप रीडिंग को पढ़ सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं. अदरवाइज व्हाट वी कैन डू इज वी आर प्लानिंग टू हैव सम मोर सीरीज जहां पर हम आपको आके लाइव ही हेल्प करेंगे. सो डोंट वरी, जस्ट स्टे ट्यून्ड विद अस ऑन आवर पेजेस सो दैट यू विल गेट द अपडेट्स. एंड yes, we are here to help you out, so don't worry, right? But I really want the way you came today. Just come every time in the every lecture, do participate, come up with your queries, because हमारा मोटिव ही है. हम आते यहाँ पर इसीलिए हैं कि आप बच्चे आए, पढ़ें, अपने क्वेश्चन लेकर आए, अपने डाउट्स लेकर आए. हमारी मेहनत भी तभी सफल होती है ना. तो I really appreciate that you came and you know participate. अभिषेक, आई होप आपकी प्रैक्टिस अच्छी चल रही है. ठीक है, अभिषेक स्टूडेंट है जो ऑलरेडी अपना प्रिपेयर कर चुके हैं, बट इट इज़ रियली हेल्पफुल फॉर मी. थैंक यू सो मच सुजीत. आई एम लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू सी यू. अभी देखो, अभी जो हमारा इस वाली सीरीज के सिर्फ 2 लेक्चर बचे हैं. कमिंग क्लास में यानी कि फ्राइडे को हम डिस्कस करेंगे tips that can help you to get good score or a higher score in your TOEFL listening. फिर नेक्स्ट मंडे हम लोग बात करें, नहीं नहीं, कमिंग क्लास में तो हमारा डिस्कशन होना है. आज जैसे हमने कॉन्वर्सेशन की है, कमिंग क्लास में हम डिस्कशन पे फोकस करेंगे. वी विल प्ले द डिस्कशन, यू विल लिसन टू द डिस्कशन एंड देन यू विल आंसर द क्वेश्चन. फिर उसके बाद वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट some more questions, like some tips, some techniques, everything we will be discussing. But before that, okay, Anmol Yadav, hello ma'am. ये क्या की तरीका होता, व्हाट इज दैट? हेलो मैम, यहाँ क्या की क्या, ओके, यहाँ किस चीज की तैयारी होती है? वेल, दिस इज अबाउट द टोफल, राइट? टोफल टेस्ट. हम्म. मेरे पास. ओके, सो दिस इज अबाउट टोफल. टोफल एक इंग्लिश प्रोफिशिएंसी टेस्ट है जो आप देते हैं आइदर यू वांट टू गो अब्रॉड फॉर योर हायर एजुकेशन, या फिर यू आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू गो फॉर द अदर कंट्री फॉर द परमानेंट रेजिडेंसी. तो उस चीज़ के लिए आप टोफल का एग्जाम देते हैं. ठीक है, तो ये एग्जाम सिर्फ आपको उस चीज़ों के लिए प्रिपेयर नहीं करता है, बट आपकी ओवरऑल स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश में, रीडिंग इंग्लिश में, राइटिंग इंग्लिश में, लिसनिंग इंग्लिश में भी हेल्प करता है. So I really appreciate the way you guys have joined today. I am really looking forward to see you in the next class. That's on Friday, right at 3 p.m. Thank you so much for joining in. Tab tak ke liye bye bye. Have a good day.